If you're truly the descendants of great adventurers, then you'll stand up and fight.
Oh, I see. So you are as stupid as you look. You think you can defeat those monsters with that little thing. Go ahead and fight. I'd like to see you stand up to their army with a weapon like that. The blood of our great forefathers most certainly is coursing through our veins. That is our most powerful weapon. You're unexpectedly fantastic! That brazen attitude and ferocity. You remind me of an untrained dog.
Previously, he was a worthless, smelly gamer boy who never had a chance at any girls until one day. When he logged off the game and went downstairs, he ended up getting teleported into this very game. Now, after establishing himself within the world, he tries to figure out a balance between rizzing up baddies and saving the kingdom. With our protagonist Leon recently being informed by a girl Carla that her family is in need of his help, he has no choice but to get his lazy self up. His servant Luxio tries to get him not to help the random girl, reminding him he already has 2 hot girlfriends. Leon, on the other hand, is not satisfied with just 2, informing his servant that he needs more. They then head back to their cafe where tension is high, with the 2 girls Leon was flirting with being ridiculed constantly because of their relationship with him. He knows he needs to change. As they talk, a bike race is announced, giving hope to the students. With the winner of it all gaining lots of popularity and a prize, the stakes are high for this event. Angelica and Olivia, the 2 hot girls accompanying Leon, see this competition and think Leon will surely win. Marie, the main antagonist, who also happens to be from another world, thinks it would be best to gamble on it rather than participate herself. Later that week, the race starts where all of the racers compete with lots on the line. During this, Leon is seen sitting in his VIP booth, gambling on who he thinks he will win. He laughs to himself, assured of his victory. Then, as he expected, the people he bet on emerged to the front of the race. Although Leon had previously beat down the top contender, he still wished for his victory. Once he does, the man gets knocked around, making him worry about his bets. Angelica tells him that he should have bet with more intent, explaining that his bet isn't the best. As she says this, however, the one he betted on gets to the front of the pack, allowing Leon to cash out. After the race is over, Joke, the green-haired man who was racing, appears injured. He then heads to the hospital where students are seen crying for him. Marie specifically is saddened after hearing Joke won't be able to participate in the next race, thus ruining her chance at winning big. As they talk, some girl named Clary enters the room who is revealed to be Joke's ex. Leon remembers her as a nice girl in the game, but in reality she is just as stuck up as the others. She roasts Joke for being a failure, but Angelica protests despite their differences. She tells her to learn her place, knowing she isn't of the same standing as she is. Once she realizes Angelica is better than herself, she moves back onto antagonizing Joke. When she does, Marie tries to calm her down, showing her weaker side. Overwatching all of this is Leon, thinking there must be some sort of deeper beef between the 2. Clary then leaves, allowing Marie to make her next advancements. She demands that Leon will race in his steed to ensure that she doesn't lose all of her money again. Although he is hesitant at first, everyone seems to be relying on him, hoping he will win it for them. With everyone expecting him to participate, Leon has no choice but to go along with it. He tells Joke to recover fast, so he doesn't have to keep covering for him. Later that day, Leon heads to the racing event stadium where he prepares to race. As he does, some man named Dan emerges telling Leon he has no chance against him. Despite him seeing Leon beat down all of the strongest people, he still thinks he has a chance. He explains that he is fighting for Clary, revealing Joke broke off his engagement to her, simply to follow Marie around. Before we continue, let's take a moment to answer the question of the day. What was the first anime you ever watched? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out in the next video. Now, back to the recap. After he hears all of this, Leon tells him he also isn't fond of Joke, hoping he will let him off the hook. This doesn't work, however, so he is forced to enter the competition with lots of eyes on him. Although he has no clue how to pilot the bikes, he is confident in his victory, because he has Luxio on his side. With this, the battle finally begins, and the contenders take off. Leon starts off in the back, but soon realizes it won't be easy to advance. Lots of Clary's followers begin banging into him, showing they intend to win no matter the means. Thankfully, Leon is able to keep his balance and stay in the race. While all of this happens, the ugly girl who got mad at Leon earlier in the series is seen talking with Angelica. She calls her foul names, but Angelica protests, causing the ugly girl to rush her. Olivia gets in the middle of them, but this only incites the girl to roast Angelica more. She calls her a commoner's slave, asking why she enjoys following around a man like Leon. Instead of hurting Angelica, Olivia gets mad, causing her to run off. Once this happens, Angelica gets enraged, so she slaps the ugly girl to the ground. She then jumps on top of her and shows her who the boss is. Meanwhile, Leon is still in the race, currently standing in last place. He decides to finally unleash his true power, asking Luxio to give him a boost. With this, he speeds up and starts overtaking various racers until he reaches the front. Now, with him back in the race, the front runners are unsure how to react. As they try to stop him, he pushes past and catches up to the first-placed racer. Eventually, the race ends and Leon takes the crown, ensuring that everyone who bet on Jilk won their bets. This turn of events made everyone in the audience angry, having all betted on Dan. He displays courage despite losing in the event, making Leon think he might have a friend. Once the race ends, Leon is satisfied with the results, having bet all of his own money on himself. He then heads back to Jilk to flex on him, where he tells him he has a task for him. He brings him into a room with Clary and gets him to apologize for leaving his ex. Even after apologizing, she is unable to deal with it, knowing Jilk is just another one following Marie around. She asks him why he had to leave her, but he is unable to answer, informing her there is just something about Marie that gets him going. With this, the two go their separate ways without making up, leaving Leon in the room. Dan decides to treat him to some tea to sit down and talk with Clary. To his surprise, she thanks him for bringing Jilk back to his senses, despite him still not going back to her. After this happens, Leon goes to find Olivia, her still being depressed from the fight earlier. She asks Leon if she has the right to be friends with Angelica, her being the daughter of a duke while Olivia is a filthy commoner. Because of this, Leon knows to pick his words carefully, encouraging Olivia in the process. This helps her gain the courage to make up with Angelica, but when she goes to meet with her, she is approached by Carla instead. Once she enters, Carla invites Olivia to join their group to help. She tries to reject her offer, but when the ugly girl who fought with Angelica emerges, she's unsure how to react. The ugly girl tells her that if she doesn't follow her, then she will make sure she has problems at the school. She then orders Olivia to report out front in the morning first thing, but she protests. Olivia tells her that she is friends with Angelica, so she can't just leave her. This only angers the ugly girl even more, forcing her to pull on Olivia's hair and knock her down. She tells her that she is just a commoner, so there is no way she can be friends with someone like Angelica. The ugly girl then calls Olivia a pet, telling her she is only kept around for her body. She suggests Olivia to go make a move on Leon, thinking he is also someone unworthy of her presence. Leon, on the other hand, is seen packing his bags to hopefully gain a new item. With Olivia originally being one of the strongest in the game, he knows if he just gives her a few items, she will be able to bring out her true power. He reveals that based on game events, one of the items should soon come up. He informs us that the ugly girl is actually in charge of the group that is holding this item. She also commands a group of pirates who plan on getting back on Olivia. Leon then decides that he will use his knowledge from the game to get involved and stop this event. He knows that if he lets the prince's group handle it, they will surely fail. Luxio tells him that if he does all of this, then Olivia is sure to fall for him, but he denies it. He tells Luxio that he is just a background character as he heads to his airship. With an otherworldly design, it is said to be one of the strongest airships in the world. As he thinks to himself, Carla emerges with Olvia beside her acting like a servant. As they talk, two of the prince's minions approach him, revealing they are also going to help Carla. Leon wonders why she had to ask for extra help, seeing his strength firsthand. As he talks to himself, the two minions begin arguing with each other about who is stronger. This causes Carla to stop them, asking Olivia what she thinks of the situation. Meanwhile, Angelica is seen walking over to Olivia's room, but is stunned to see it graffitied. She tries to enter the room, but the ugly girl emerges, trying to pick a fight with Angelica. The ugly girl then informs Angelica that she is too late already. This angers Angelica, so she grabs the girl's collar again with the intention to beat her up again. Thankfully, she restrains herself this time, informing her once she gets home, she will tell her dad to burn her family down. Julius, on the other hand, is seen meeting with his hot mom, Mylene. She tells him to stay at home knowing it's dangerous, but he protests, informing her Leon is even going. When he says Leon's name, her heart skips a beat, showing she thinks fondly of Leon. Little does she know Leon is playing cards on the airship leisurely. He wins the game over and over again without revealing he is actually cheating. By using shape-shifting cards, he is able to easily defeat the two in poker. Once they lose Greg, The red-haired man asks Brad, the purple-haired man, what his ex was like. Brad tells him that she was pretty normal, him not remembering anything significant about her. He explains that it was all an arranged marriage with no real love. Brad explains that he is helping Carla because she is a follower of his ex. This makes Greg start talking about his love life, complaining about having to have 3 different wives. As they talk, some pirate airships emerge, causing Leon to get to work. He informs them to get moving, but they show no movement, causing him to yell at them. He tries to get them to help, but he knows they are pretty much useless in a real battle. Because of this, he heads outside the airship to take on the pirates himself. They see his armor and wonder what an old piece like that could possibly do to their numbers. To their surprise, Leon dashes towards the enemies and makes quick work of them. Once he finishes defeating all the grunts, Greg and Brad realize that Leon wasn't even trying against them. The leader of the pirates then tries to evacuate, but Leon is too fast, sending missiles before they can. He then gets face to face against the pirate leader, forcing him into submission. With everyone defeated, Greg realizes that he has been overconfident all this time. Leon, on the other hand, shows no interest in defeating such a group, thinking of them as little bugs. During this, Carla is seen yelling into a microphone, wishing that they had sent stronger pirates to stop him. Then once they finally arrive at her island, he is surrounded by more pirates who force Leon into submission. Eventually, a man named Lord Conrad emerges, telling his grunts to put their guns down. He asks Brad if he remembers him, informing him he was fond of him. He then asks why they have guns pointed at them, causing Conrad to be unsure as well. He tells them his daughter, Carla, told them they were pirates, so he is unsure of what's going on. Leon then interrupts their conversation, explaining that it was all Carla's fault for this to happen. She denies it, however, claiming it was Olivia who got them surrounded. Leon then informs the Lord that he came to deal with the pirates from Carla's request, asking for the reward. With him not knowing any of this, Conrad demands an explanation from his daughter, but she is too fragile to speak. Leon then heads back home, knowing that she won't try something like this again. Even after he defeated the pirates, Leon wishes the rest of them would come so he could steal the item he is looking for. He goes to meet with Olivia, who is still in shock of it all. She tells Leon that he is too good for her, asking why he acts so kind to her. She asks him if he is after her body, but he denies it, worsening the situation even more. She tells him that she knew he didn't care for her, asking again why he is so nice to her. With him knowing that she will become someone important in the future, he can't reveal his real reason for being nice to her. During this tense situation, Leon finally realizes that he hasn't been giving Olivia the attention she deserves. She tells him she thinks of herself as his pet, asking him to treat her better. Later that night, Leon stands around on the airship talking to Luxio about the situation. He tells himself that it's his fault for helping her in the first place, knowing she would become someone special in the future. Luxio then calls him a scumbag, asking him why he would treat a girl as his pet. This angers him, so he punches Luxio and sits down. As he thinks to himself, Brad emerges to the balcony, showing Leon his sword skills. Leon asks him why he is using a sword, knowing he prioritizes magic. He continues to roast him, reminding him of how bad he beat him last time. This only incites Brad to want to become even stronger, telling Leon he feels like a background character compared to the others. Leon then asks him why he needs to follow that girl in the first place, telling him she is ugly. The two begin arguing, but Luxio breaks it up, presenting a wooden sword to the men. Brad takes it and wastes no time taking his anger out on Leon. He swings and claims he is better than him in every way, not knowing why Marie won't look his way. This makes Leon think of Olivia, and thus gets sidetracked. Brad takes advantage of the situation, causing Leon to wake up and knock him back. This makes him feel even more useless, so Brad walks away, claiming he will beat him one day. While this happens in a random dungeon, Marie is seen running for her life from a monster. She knows that there is a hidden item within this dungeon that Olivia needs. Julius, on the other hand, talks with himself, wondering how he can sneak out of the castle to help Marie. He suggests they get masks and large robes, making Jilk wonder how he plans on even getting the items. Julius then writes a letter to the royal palace requesting the items, but his letter is intercepted by the queen. During this, Leon is seen eating dinner alongside Brad and Greg. They ask him what his plans are, knowing that the pirates' main force is still running around. This gets Leon to think, eventually deciding to strike the pirates once he learns where they are hiding. As he thinks of this, the pirates approach them instead, showing he doesn't have to do anything. Once they see this, the two men ask to take them along, but Leon protests. They then bow their heads, forcing Leon to recognize their resolve and allow them to fight. While all of this is happening, Olivia is still depressed, sitting around in her room. As she thinks of how mean she was to Leon, the ship starts to shake, forcing her to see what's going on. A Upon inspection, she sees Leon in the middle of a battle against the pirates' main force. She then decides to run outside to confront them, but once she does, she is stopped by a large robot. She realizes she messed up, but before the enemy can grab her, Brad emerges and knocks the pirate back. This leads to a fight between the two, but Brad gets easily overpowered. Meanwhile, Leon is still farming all of the pirates, racking up as many kills as he can. He realizes that the man on his ship is definitely the pirates' leader, so he tries to confront him. As he rushes towards the pirate leader, his grunts block his advances, but this doesn't stop him. He continues pushing through, but soon realizes that it won't be easy with Olivia being in danger. He thinks she will be captured when he arrives, but to his surprise, he sees Brad and Greg defending her. This makes him happy, realizing that Olivia deserves to be surrounded by guys like him. Although he thinks badly of himself, he still decides to help the two out. Just in the nick of time, he gets onto the battlefield to stop the pirate leader from capturing Olivia. He then beats the leader to a pulp, forcing him into submission. With Leon's power being unmatched, the leader tries to surrender, but Leon plans on scaring the man some more. He barely missed a fatal strike, causing him to look like the bad guy. As he talks with the man, he sees the necklace he was looking for sitting on the ground, so he steals it, leaving the pirate leader completely defeated. They then retreat, allowing the group to relax a bit. Olivia sees Brad injured, so she heals him, but Shish 4 is interrupted when Leon emerges. He tells her that this is how things are supposed to be, referring to her being with the prince's henchmen. This makes Olivia wonder why he is acting so cold to her now, blaming it on herself. After this happens, Leon goes to inspect the rewards he got from all of these events, and he sure is impressed. With tons of gold, he sits down leisurely, talking with Luxio on what to do with all this money. He considers getting a bunch of hot servants, but realizes that he needs to complete his schooling first. Luxio then asks him to go make up with Olvia, knowing he is treating her wrong for no reason. As they talk, another airship emerges, showing they plan on taking care of everything else. Brad and Greg, on the other hand, finally get back to the academy, where they are stunned to see the prize pool for them. They try to reject the offer, but are stunned when the headmaster explains that Leon is not only giving them this money, but also allowing them to inherit their titles. See, previously, Leon had beat them all in a duel, forcing them to become random, unemployed people, but now they are nobility again. This leads to Leon thinking about his future, wondering if his chances with Angelica and Olivia are done for. Little does he know both of the girls think fondly of him, wishing that things could go back to how it was. Later that week, Greg and Brad approach Julius with a proposition. They ask him to give them an audience with the Queen, in hopes of one day defeating Leon. Because of his efforts, Leon ends up getting promoted yet again now, from the 6th highest rank in the kingdom to the 5th highest rank. With him being 2 ranks above his own father, he wonders if he is fit out for nobility. He then receives a letter from Dan entailing that he was the one who recommended Leon be promoted. Along with his recommendation to be promoted, Leon received a new bike from Clary. Luxio sees this and instantly decides it needs some repairs to meet their standards. To others, surprised Leon is actually sad that he got promoted, wishing he could stay a background character. His fake friends then inform him that soon there will be a school event, so he has another chance at getting a wife. He tells friends that he already has a group, informing them he plans on participating in the event with Olivia and Angelica. Later that night, Leon boards a luxury ship where the students are given a nice dinner before this event. While he attends it, he notices the social differences, realizing the higher-ranked girls are surrounded by others. As he thinks, Christ enters the room, causing tons of girls to scream out. He wonders why nobody is talking with Olivia, hoping that one of the prince's henchmen would help her. As this happens, 2 girls are seen getting ready to throw some dynamite off the ship. This causes a smoke to arise, thus alerting whoever they are working with of their location. Following this, they head to a new floating island for a break where there are tons of shops. Olivia attends it, but is unsure of what to do, not having her sugar daddy Leon around. She then spots a shrine, so she decides to inspect it, only to find Leon standing on top of it. Angelica then emerges as well, causing all of them to be forced to talk with each other. Then some little girl emerges and tells them that she is a matchmaking expert, urging her to test out the shrine. Angelica starts by presenting a gold coin, but Leon interrupts her attempt, slamming a stack of cash on the table. He speaks his demands, wishing for a busty girl who is kind while also being a bit naughty. The others don't go that extreme, but they do decide to pray for a good husband. Leon, on the other hand, simply wants somebody, revealing he doesn't really care who it is. The matchmarker then presents some charms to present to the group. Instantly, Leon steals all of them, thinking they hold immense power. She then tells Leon to give them to the others, so he decides to do so and asks them to open it together. Once they open it up, they each get different blessings, making Leon a bit sad. He tells them that he has no talent for those charms, explaining he is the best one of them all. He tells them it's the war charm that boosts his growth rate and ability to recover. With everyone being satisfied with their gifts, the matchmaker urges them to stay friends in the future. The following day, Leon is seen moping around while staring at his charm. Luxio interrupts his thoughts, asking him if he plans on just sitting around every day to let Marie get stronger. As he talks with Luxio, a girl is seen with red eyes, claiming it's finally time. Leon is then approached by Chris, who asks Leon for some help. Before he can explain what he wants, the alarm for the ship sounds, forcing them to look around. Upon inspecting the air, they find hundreds of monsters being commanded by a neighboring nation. Leon recognizes this as an endgame event, so he wonders why it is emerging now. He then attempts to get in his armor but is stopped when he sees a huge monster airship. Standing inside of this airship is Princess Hertrude, the main antagonist of the story. Angelica explains that she is an evil girl who stops at nothing to get what she wants. She then declares war on the Hullfort Kingdom, the kingdom Leon belongs to. She tells him that he has 1 hour to surrender, or everyone will die. Leon wonders where it all went wrong, previously remembering this event to happen at the end of their 3rd school year. With no other options, they decide to comply with the kingdom's demands and surrender themselves. One of the main commanders of the opposing force emerges before them and asks all people with any skills to come forward. Before anyone does, however, Angelica approaches the man, telling him she will take the fall for everyone else. Once Leon sees this, he tries to stop the man, but is put down by his friends. The commander then walks over to Leon and stomps on him, claiming anyone who opposes him will die. He then orders them to beat Leon up, hoping to take advantage of the tension. Angelica sees this, so she tries to stop him, but the commander has no interest in backing down. He then orders Angelica to accompany him onto his ship, making all of the other students enraged. Angelica then goes to meet with the princess, where they talk about the war. Hertrude tells her that she has no plans on surrendering, explaining she already has enough hostages to win the war. She explains that all the nobles have already been thrown into a prison to rot the rest of their lives away. The only upside to this is that Olivia wasn't captured because of her worthless standing. Chris then emerges and informs Leon that he has decided to give up Angelica to preserve the peace. He explains that there is 6 hours before they arrive to the opposing kingdom's land, so he wants his help. Leon, however, protests his decision, telling him he doesn't care what happens to them. As Chris walks away, he changes his mind, informing him if he wants his help, then he needs to help as well. This leads to Christ trying to convince all of the students to fight back, but they protest. They tell him to sit down and stop trying to get them to risk their lives. As they all protest his decision, Leon enters the room and tells everyone of his standing as a 5th-rank noble. He demands that they fight for him, explaining he is the only true noble here. This angers some blonde girl, so she walks over to Leon, telling him she is an earl's daughter. She claims to be someone important despite not working for anything in her life. He tells her this, reminding her that he is the same rank as her father despite not being born into a noble family. This only angers the girl even more, informing him that her nobility is from countless efforts from her family through generations. Once he hears this, Leon just continues with his claims, reminding everyone that they are only nobles because their families took up arms like how they need to do now. He explains that noble blood should be ready to fight, demanding they stop acting like a bunch of wusses. Thanks to these remarks, all of the noble students get mad and take up arms ready to fight. With this, Leon heads over to his bike, preparing to engage in battle against the enemies. On the battlefield, Leon charges towards the princess's ship, knowing if he saves Angelica, then he can complete the quest. He starts by sending a laser beam at the monsters, assuring himself that he can emerge victorious. As he continues to mow through monsters, the others watch, wondering if they can one day be as strong as him. While he attacks and Chris leads his own charge, the other students fight back using their magical powers. Angelica sees all of this happening, so she questions Leon's sanity, seeing the amount of monsters before them. Hertrude sees this as well, so she decides to counterattack, ordering the monsters to fight even harder with her flute. This doesn't faze Angelica, however, so she tells her that this attack will be the fall of her clan. She tells Hertrude that with Leon leading the attack, she has no chances at victory. The commander overhears this and informs her that this is only the beginning of their attacks. He claims to have a large number of bombs ready to be dispersed, asking Hertrude to bait everyone into one place. While this happens, the students continue fighting the monsters, showing they have no intentions of letting up. Leon, on the other hand, has only one thing in mind, getting a wife. He thinks that if he leads the charge in this war and defeats a large number of monsters, then he will surely get some sort of play. Olivia, on the contrary, spends her time healing everybody, her being completely useless in battle. Just when they thought they had the upper hand, the enemy starts firing their cannons at the students. Just before they're hit by a seemingly infinite number of missiles, Olivia cries out. This cry forms a barrier around the entire ship, blocking every single incoming attack. She then reflects this attack back onto the monsters, defeating tons of them in an instant. This turns the tide of the battle, causing Leon to recognize her strength. He finally gets to see her true power, knowing this is only the start of her reign. With her giving her best effort, he decides to do so as well, charging into the mouth of the monster airship. This allows him to enter their castle and find Gertrude. He starts by shooting all of her companions just for the fun of it, then orders her to give him the flute. Once he gets this flute, Luxio informs him that it's a fake, informing him that a nearby maid has the flute. For some reason, he ignores this and leaves the flute with the maid, hoping to leave with just Gertrude. Then suddenly Leon rides out of the princess's ship, telling everyone to move out the way. Once Angelica sees all of this, she realizes that although Leon is a scumbag, he is also very kind. This causes her to hold on tightly to him, showing she feels safe around his presence. Although he captured the princess, the opposing kingdom still has all of their forces, causing them to plan another attack. During this small break, Leon tries to evacuate with the princess, but the commander has other plans. He orders all of the monsters and enemies to fight anyways, demanding they sacrifice the princess. After she hears this, Gertrude releases her control over the monsters, meaning they will soon charge the airship. This leaves Leon unsure what to do, so he heads back on his bike to hopefully take as many monsters out as he can. With Angelica seeing all of this and realizing she has been worthless thus far, she also unlocks a hidden power. Being encased in flames, she learns that she has the power of the Fire Lance, a strong power unrivaled by any other fire attack. She uses this power to support Leon, all the while protecting Olivia. She tells Olivia to get up, but she reveals she has used all of her magical power already, with hopes of being recognized by the others. As they have a moment, a monster emerges and knocks Angelica off the ship, causing her to barely hang on. With her thinking it's the end, she wishes she had confessed her feelings for Leon sooner. Right before she falls after losing her grip, Olivia emerges and grabs hold. She tells her that she is her precious friend, saying if she falls, then she will fall too. The ship then rocks, causing Olivia to throw Angelica back on board, causing herself to fall. Unexpectedly, Leon emerges and recuses Olivia, showing despite him fighting with hundreds of monsters, he is still able to watch over the girls. Once he saves her, she finally expresses herself, asking him why he has been mean to him. He explains that she is too good for himself, hoping she would find someone to her interests. He lists all of the hot guys she could get with, but she denies all of them, telling Leon she wants to be with him. Although it's new to a virgin like him, he accepts her love, putting her on the back of his seat. He then brings her back to the ship where she has a moment with Angelica. During this time, he launched a counterattack on the commander, forcing him to realize his defeat. Right before he thinks all hope is lost, an old man emerges into the cockpit, revealing himself as the strongest warrior, the Black Knight Vandal. Before he emerged on the battlefield, Leon had an easy time mowing down any enemies that may face off against him. Eventually, his luck runs out when the Black Knight emerges before him. Angelica explains the Black Knight as someone who has defeated dozens of kingdom's armies. She explains that he is the reason the kingdom is able to thrive in the first place. This brings us back to the battle between the two, where Leon is unable to get a single strike in. The Black Knight not only overpowers him in speed, but also in strength, forcing Leon to be pushed back. Vandal tells him it's over, but Leon has other plans, throwing his weapon away. He decides he will use his bare hands to fight, knowing he can use a laser beam attack. This foolish decision only allows Vandal to get a strike off on him, turning his screen off. After this happens, Leon is exposed to the outside, making it all the more dangerous of a fight. Luxio urges him to retreat, but Leon knows that he has no option but to fight. He thinks of all the people relying on him, causing him to not give up. Despite his efforts, however, he continues to get beat down until Vandal makes a fatal mistake getting too close. Leon takes advantage of this and grabs him, but Vandal stays consistent with his strength. This makes Leon question why the man is even fighting him in the first place with his age. Vandal explains that his life duty is to fight for the kingdom, and he has no other life goals. With this information, Leon only fights all the harder, rushing him in an attempt to overpower him. Vandal blinds him, thus allowing him to strike into his armor. He thinks he won because of this move, but Leon exits the armor and gives control to Luxio. He then approaches the old man and points a gun at his face, revealing he is the victor in battle. He tells the old man he doesn't want to kill him, but rather put him in a prison for the rest of his life. Once this happens, the commander is forced to reveal his trump card. He shoots out a flare and reveals an even larger army than before. After seeing this, Leon doesn't back down, but rather tells Luxio it's time they get serious. With this, a rain of magical attacks falls from the sky, taking out every single monster. Leon reveals that he has been hiding this power simply to flex it off at the end. He tells Vandel that he will release him, but on the condition he tells his kingdom of his strength. Once he finishes things up with him, he meets with the commander to flame him. He tells him how trash at war he is, showing he is the true alpha. The commander then tries to negotiate with Leon, telling him they can solve things so they both benefit. Later that night, Luxio asks Leon why he didn't just use his power from the start. Leon explains that if he used his true power from the start, people might start to fear him and protest his authority. Following this, Leon attempts to head back to his room, but he is stopped by two robots informing him he has some guests. Once he enters the room, he finds the two blonde beauties lying side by side. He sneaks a peek on them, but realizes if he gets caught, he will be in serious trouble. Chris tells Leon that he is thankful for his help, but he won't give up. Later that week, once they get back home, Angelica meets with her father to talk about Leon. He tells Angelica that he wants her to marry him to ensure he stays respectable in their kingdom. After this happens, Leon goes to meet with the two girls, treating them to cookies and tea in the process. He tells them that thanks to Chris's efforts in battle, he has regained his title as well. Luxio then emerges and starts talking to Leon, making the girls wonder who he is. Leon calls Luxio his pet, causing the girls to play with him. Meanwhile, Marie meets with the lover boys who present her with a new armor, with it having a rainbow color representing all of their hair colors. Marie wonders why they made such a large piece of junk. It is revealed that they plan on fighting Leon again to hopefully show their progress. This time, however, they send only Greg into the suit, hoping he can show them who the boss is. Once the fight begins, Leon does the usual dodging and making him look like a fool. As he fights, Luxio informs him that the rainbow armor is about to explode because of how badly it was made. Leon tries to tell this to Greg, but he sees it as a simple threat from Leon. Leon then tries to tell the others, but they also think that Leon is just trying to get an easy victory, because nobody is listening to him. Luxio suggests he wait until the explosion happens and save him then. Just as Greg sends in what he thinks is the final blow, Leon strikes back and completely demolishes the rainbow armor. Unlike last time, everybody is unsurprised, figuring Greg stood no chance. Leon then is forced to get suited up to finally officially be recognized for his efforts. He tries to avoid the occasion, but Angelica urges him to accompany him, leading him into a large ballroom. Upon arriving, Leon is presented with the rank of Viscount, making him one of the highest-ranked people in the kingdom. Marie sees all of this and gets enraged, so she prepares her plan to take down Leon. Once the ceremony is over, Leon goes to meet with Olivia, who once again proclaims her love for Leon.